FITZSIMMONS Last updated 8/31, May 31, 2018. The current salary question is damaging to many women who are underpaid, and also to any man who didn't negotiate well in their first job. Opinion: over the course of my professional career, I've been asked the dreaded salary question in about half a dozen job interviews. What are your salary expectations? Or even worse, what's your current salary? There was even one large publishing company, not my current employer, that made all candidates apply via web portal, in which salary for all current and past positions was a compulsory field. I took the gamble of nominating my then current salary as zero, figuring the hiring manager would know it was wrong and it was better to have the conversation in person. I did get an interview, though ultimately the job wasn't a good fit. Read more, * simple tips to get the best starting salary in your new job, * top 5 rules for negotiating your salary, * finding the government's slush fund for state sector pay demands. The problem is, in any negotiation, the person who makes the first offer generally loses. If the candidate mentions salary first, they've just set a ceiling on what they'll be paid, even if the company had a higher budget. Squirm-inducing though it may be, the conventional advice is to deflect the question and ask what budget the company has in mind for the role. The current salary question is even worse because most companies will use that as a benchmark and offer a premium that's just enough to entice you to move. If you're underpaid in your current role, there's a good chance you'll be underpaid in the next. You could lie, but that is unethical and could backfire badly if they have any way to verify the information. It means one low-paid job early in your career can mean you take years to catch up. It also entrenches the gender pay gap because there we know from evidence that female graduates typically command lower starting salaries than their male counterparts. The 2017 Graduate Outcomes Survey in Australia reports the median salary for women leaving university is $59,000, $64,000, compared with $60,100 for men. Women are paid less for their first job in most fields of study, so it's not just about career choice. This equates to a gender pay gap of 1.9%, which is apparently the lowest recorded gap for 40 years. If that trend continues, things are looking up for young women, though let's not get too excited until we see actual equality sustained over time. It still leaves millions of women who joined the workforce before 2017 and are lagging men by a much bigger pay gap. For example, in 2016 women's graduate salaries were 6.4% lower than men's, according to the same survey. The current salary question is damaging to those women and also to any man who didn't negotiate well in their first job. Men, however, can more easily get away with not answering the question. Economist Linda Babcock of Carnegie Mellon University says women are penalized for negotiating pay. In a study, she showed people videos of men and women asking for a raise, following the exact same script. Both men and women liked the man's style and agreed to pay him more, but said the woman was too aggressive. However, PayScale, a compensation data and software company in the U.S., has found that women who were asked to disclose salary and refused are actually offered 1.8% less than women who were asked and did disclose. That's because the interviewer has an unconscious bias to assume she's not answering because she earns less. Meanwhile, if a man refused to disclose when asked about salary history, he received an offer that was 1.2% higher than a man who did. Banning the question would avoid setting up this dynamic in the first place. So I've been interested to follow the debate in the United States, where there is a growing recognition that the question entrenches inequality. 9 U.S. states now have or are set to introduce full or partial bans on employers asking candidates about current salary during the hiring process. In several states, including the big jurisdictions of California and New York, the employers are prohibited from using the information to determine a pay offer, even if the candidate has volunteered the information or it's otherwise known. Some employers are banning the practice themselves, including Amazon, Facebook and Google. The question is still perfectly legal in Australia, but perhaps it should be consigned to the dustbin of history along with questions about politics and pregnancy plans. Sydney Morning Herald.